I'm Rob. We talked.
Judge, how are you? Good
Okay, so we think it's you know, I'm optimistic. I mean, this is a tough road, you know, but I'm more optimistic about this than I ever have. But I mean, when you look at the debt clock, I mean, how could you not be optimistic? So, like I said, I'm going to write to all the governors, see what the status is, see who I can work with, and Matt will be involved, and we're to give it our best.
Why are you so optimistic, given the fact that this has happened before and it's faded?
Because the debt is so high and people know it. And it isn't a partisan, narrow kind of an issue where somebody's just worried about the debt, we're worried about the debt. Now it's real. And so I think, you know, when you think about Perot, Ross Perot, he was in that election, and that kind of sparked this whole thing about finances, and it took years, but we finally got to a balanced budget. You know, he deserves some credit for having raised the issue. Now you don't need to raise much of the issue. People just intuitively know that the road we're on is not a road to economic gain, but rather debt for our kids and a slower economy. I think they know it.
What would you propose that Congress cut to balance the budget, assuming that you would want them to preserve the money for Medicaid expansion?
Well, Joe, I mean, that's like asking me to write the federal budget.
Well,
I've done it before. Well, look, I mean, they need to go through everything. I mean, that place is rife with waste, and you know, everything needs to go on the table. That's the way it works. I mean, you know, to sit here and give you a budget plan, and I don't intend to go back to Washington, so you'll have to leave that to Stivers.
If it meant balancing the federal
look,
budget,
I went through this when I was running for governor. Well, what specifically would you cut? Because we don't believe it. And then we put it all on the table and we got it done. So, you know, this is not about being defeated by 1,000 cuts. This is about having a big picture about, you know, our children's future.
Could we have a federally funded Medicaid expansion program and a federally balanced
Well, sure you
budget?
can. All these programs need to be re-engineered and have 21st century life breathed into them. You know, you might say to me, well, how did you go from a 9% growth in Medicaid to less than 3%? Because we thought, that's why, because we figured out a better way to design these programs. So these are not inconsistent positions by any stretch of the imagination. The only inconsistency would be with the people who have never really kind of looked at how you can re-engineer a balanced budget and a stronger federal government.
I'd be interested for both you and the Congressman to balance the federal budget.
Well, first of all, you don't do it overnight. This is not a one-year proposition. Everybody in the country would be happy to see that you get on a glide path. You remember when I was chairman of the Budget Committee, we had a 7-year glide path. That was my big symbol, 7 years. And we got there quicker because of the growth in revenues, because we actually cut taxes. So this is not something you do in a day. It's something you do over time. And that's to be left for people to, you know, to put in any of the specific dynamics they want or any of the boundaries that they want on this. But the concept is get it done.
So for you and the Congressman, if it meant balancing the federal budget, would you accept any kind of a tax increase?
What is said in this, I mean, I think the tax increase is not needed any more than I believe that we needed to raise taxes to balance our budget. But we're agnostic on this. I mean, let's just all get agreement as the fact that we should balance the budget and then let them fight it out. Right now, they don't even discuss it. They don't even talk about it. So
balanced budgets are about governing. And one of the things you see in Congress now, they haven't passed a budget in 5 years. That's not governing. That's just meandering down the course you're on. Yep. And, you know, when we had to govern, we were able to solve what everybody said was unsolvable. Almost 18% of the state budget had to be cut out to balance without raising taxes. Hard decisions. Not all of those decisions are something that I liked. But at the end of the day, what we did was create a foundation for governing and moving progress forward. And that's what this is about. This is about encouraging our friends in Congress to do the right thing and govern for change.
A balanced budget is a concept. It's a principle that belongs in the Constitution. The details of how to balance the budget should be left to the policymakers elected every election, the representatives and senators by their home states. And frankly, there's lots of ways to get there. There's some people who would like to do it by raising taxes. There are other people who'd like to do it by redesigning programs. And the third piece that we all need to talk about, because that's how you really balance it, is through economic growth. And I voted for the Ryan budget plan that balanced over 10 years this year. But, there's lots of ways to do it. This is about a principle. The details will be left to the elected representatives and senators that get elected in future Congresses.